If I had to describe the people that I speak to every day, which might very well be you, I can come up with a couple of things that are absolutely positively the truth every single day. And one of them is it is a passion play. The news is a passion play. It's a story, and that's never what it seems. It is a composite of good guys and bad guys. It is a world where there is a cabal, a cadre, a coven, a convocation, a consortium, a conspiracy of evil and horrible people, terrible people, ungodly people, horrid people, who represent a group of people that want to do nothing but to destroy everything. And the first thing that they believe is that nothing that you see is true. Nothing is what you seem or what it seems to be. Nothing. It's never what it seems to be. Then there's some people who are in and some people who are out. Some people who are good, some people who aren't. Some people are fake. We don't know, but it changes drastically and it changes daily. And that is precisely what people think. And there is no, we're going to talk about a couple of things, but one of the most fascinating stories, fascinating to me, is the story of Russell Brand. And not because, not in any way because of your, how do I say this? Not because of the story, but the reaction to the story. That's the part that gets me. That's the part that kills me. It's the reaction, because you see, it's never that Russell Brand is just an idiot. No, it's not that Russell Brand is just this horrible person who happens to be very loud and happens to be very, very outspoken and happens to be all of a sudden, like Bill Maher and others, when careers kind of go, oh, all of a sudden he sees the light and he represents. He understands, wait a minute, yes, I understand big pharma. And then he looks and you're like this, yes, because he repeats what you want him to say. I don't know if he believes this or not, but he repeats what you want him to say and you believe him. He's your new savior, your new person. You love him because my group loves to say who's in and who's out. There are very few people who are 100% in. The only person, Trump. Trump is 100%. Yeah, we got a few outliers here and there. But in our group, oh, no. Trump is it. Trump is savior. Trump. You can have rational people post pictures of Trump with lions and on a winged Pegasus, or there is nothing too outrageous in terms of the adoration towards Trump. Nothing. There is nothing that you can say. He's a genius. Remember 4D chess? Remember that one? 4D chess. Oh, that was my favorite. He was a genius. He wasn't mortal. It was wonderful. It was fascinating. Now we have this new fellow, Russell Brand. And the question that I ask, and let me ask you a question, especially if you say he's a wonderful man. He's a great man. He's innocent of this. This is all contrived. This is just made up. Would you believe it? There's nothing to this. They're getting at him merely because he's getting too close to the truth. He's stepping on too many toes. Okay. Let me ask you a question. Would you want your daughter to date Russell Brand? What if I said, listen, I got a deal for you. You have a daughter, right? What is she, 18? Let's say legal, 18. How would you like her to go out with Russell Brand? What would you say? What would you say? Hell no. Why? Because you know better. You don't believe this stuff. You're thinking, this guy's a perv. But he may say the right stuff, but this guy's a perv. And you know it because you're not stupid. You're not stupid. You're not stupid in the least. But here is the story, and this is the issue. This is the issue, and I mean this sincerely. We have this world right now which you can look at depending upon you want to have a microscope, a telescope, you want to step back. How would you like to look at it? The story that also fascinates me today is Jan Wenner. Jan Wenner, all of a sudden, a guy who has been with the music business forever. They bounced him from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He says that black and female musicians like Stevie Wonder and Joni Mitchell aren't as articulate as white stars like Springsteen and Jagger. Joni Mitchell is not articulate. Stevie Wonder, dude, first of all, I don't know. You would think he's never heard their music or their prose. But you ask yourself, has he lost his mind? What is he, 77? He's Trump's age, right? He's 77. Is he having a Biden moment? How does somebody, and this is something which how does somebody who has been in the business for so long, how do they dare to say something so inconceivably stupid? Incredible. And now we have something else which is interesting. And I say this to you right now, and I want you to understand this, and listen to me carefully. This is the third issue, which we're going to be talking about. This is a third issue. As we speak, they had Joe Biden was in New York last night. He was some Italian restaurant or something. And they're going to take the auto pen out. And you are going to see an absolute conflagration of legislation, executive order, programs. They know it's up. Do you understand what I'm saying? They know the gig is up. It's done. It's finished. It's through. And they're going to say, well, let's go for broke. But it's not Joe. It's the people who handle Joe. So all of this is going on, and it's fascinating. And what's interesting to me, more than anything else, is not so much the story, but your reaction. I love your reaction. I love your reaction. I absolutely love your reaction. I love your anger. I love how you'll come out of nowhere and you'll just be nuts over something. And once, not you, well, some of you, and just like murmurations, just like swarms of starlings who fly in these, you just jump in. And once it happens, it's fascinating. You're missing the point because that's what I love. There's a million aspects. There's the story, there's the media story, there's your reaction. It goes on and on and on. There was another example of some, quote, babe who's thrown off a plane who now enjoys this international status, though momentarily, for being this babe who for some reason or another excoriates the proles and says, in essence, you hate me because I'm beautiful. This is created merely by social media. So again, what we're seeing right now is the story, your reaction, but your interpretation, and how so many of you wonderful people will just look at these these machinations of this is. I saw something the other day. I saw I'm not going to mention his name, but it was one of these people that you would know. And everything he spoke of, he was in his mind, the most dangerous person ever in the history of humankind because of his message regarding vaccines. Oh, dear God, it was the most incredible. Oh, my God. Thinking, dear God, man, what are you kidding me? But he saw himself as this, I'm the savior. It's fascinating. You're missing the point. It's not just the story, it's your reaction. Here's Sparky. Sparky says, Brand is a Gen X icon. So he already had a built-in fan base. He may not have original insight, but what's wrong with him leveraging his celebrity to get the word out to normies? Cleaned up, he's okay. Do you know what he's accused of doing? Let me just ask you something. He's a creep, but he says some very good things. And thank you, Sparky. He's a creep. Would you want your daughter, somebody you know, anywhere near him? Do you think that these stories, he said this? He's a creep. But what he says politically may make sense. Remember when he was with that, what is her name on, I love 60 Minutes Australia. Oh, it's fantastic. He kisses this woman. He grabs her by the mouth. Remember this? I'm sorry. You do that and you get brained. I mean, you'll get a rabbit punch so fast, you'll see stars. Not a punch in the face, something more, kidney shot, something right to the spleen, something that lays you up for a while. Sparky, I love you to death. Do you not understand what a creep this guy is? Remember, can you separate creep from message? Or do they work together like that? Alex Jones has said some stuff which is brilliant. Alex Jones acts like a nut, but he has said some incredibly important things. Do you recognize that? You do. I know you do. There have been rock stars who have been the most incredibly great when it comes to producing music, but they are the sickest, vilest people. Would you want your kids near Steven Tyler? I don't know who these people are. Can you separate these two? He's good that he says that. I think that's good. I despise Bill Maher. I like the fact that he's come along and said the right thing. Then again, why are we applauding somebody for saying the right thing? And he's gotten the normies. And I love you, Sparky. You notice the way these people aren't just regular folks. Oh, no. They're normies. And he is this special conduit. He's able to connect with the normies. It's not even that difficult. I mean, it's simple to say. Sparky says, but wasn't that before he found Christ? I have no idea. I'm the wrong person to ask about that. That is a phenomenon nobody wants to hear about. I was listening before to Stephen Meyer, and there's a great fellow, by the way. It was so fascinating. I don't know if any of you were into the physics subgroup, but this was Dr. Stephen Meyer with Brian Keating. Are you familiar with that one? Have you Alex Weinstein, who's kind of lost his mind about the theory of everything, and whenever people say, and then when the universe expands and all of a sudden we have this, it's got to be God. What? Anyway, so I just say, okay, whatever. Sparky, let me explain something to you. Desperation. There are no atheists in foxholes. When people have found themselves so low, so without faith, so bereft, so absent of focus and hope and dreams, and you say, is anybody listening to me? Dear God, help me. And then there is a light emotion, and somebody is brought, amazing grace, who saved a wretch like me, you know the words. I'm not going to anyway dispute that. But do you know how many people at that moment, when there is nothing left, when you're saying, I'm going to kill myself, this is my last chance, and it works. And I'm not going to tell you anything but thank God, literally. I don't care what people feel. Their religion to them is, to me, it's irrelevant. Whether you are with faith, not with faith, you're in love, not in love, employed, unemployed, I don't care. But don't read too much. Sparky, he's a scumbag. Russell Brand is a scum. But he says some good things. You know, shall I go through? Do you want to talk about Machiavelli? Dear God, this man was absolutely out of his mind. Said some good things. Didn't St. Augustine have a bad period? I don't know what that means. Dysmenorrhea? Could be. Then again, with gender being whatever it is. I don't know what that means. Now we're into gobbledygook. And that's great, and I appreciate it. People don't know what to say. You see, this is a perfect example. People can't separate. They can't say, he's a scum. Sparky, would you want your daughter today? Tell me, is there anybody here? Is there anyone here, anyone here who would allow their daughter to date Russell Brand? Now, anybody? Raise your hand. Anybody? Tell me, anybody? Anybody? Is there anybody who you do? Come on. Anybody say, yeah. Why? Because he's so right about big pharma. Yeah, honey, go with him. Daddy, no, go with him. He's found Jesus. No, he's helping the normies. Go. Bring her back whenever you want. She's 16. She's legal in the UK. Come on. Stop it. Would you want your daughters or anybody to be near any rock star? But their music is great. Why can't you separate the fact that this no shite obviousness you think is so brilliant because he's connecting to the normies? He's saying what everybody is saying. I'm sorry, but it's like, where have you been? You needed Russell Brand to explain to you that there's big pharma? Oh my God. Hey, look. I guess it's okay. So what that they like him? Big deal. It doesn't matter. PewDiePie had more. I still don't know what the hell PewDiePie did. I don't even know what the hell he did. I don't know what that means. Well, he's got 6 million people. You notice how the metrics work? But that's not the issue. Let me work. I want you to imagine this. We have issues, multiple issues. We have issues that deal with, like the Matryoshka doll. You open this one up, and there's another doll in there. And you take that one out, and there's another doll. You keep having little dolls, little concentric groups of people. Let me stop for 1 second. You've had a raw nerve there, Sparky, and I love it. But let me remind you, dear friends, to please like and love and listen to what we do. Follow me constantly. Like this video. I'm not going to sell you down the river. And also remember something. As I'm telling you now again, my friends, there is going to be, listen to what I'm saying, there is going to be a food shortage collapse. I don't know what about that. People say, well, what do you mean? Mary, maybe Russell Brand can tell you. I don't know what you're saying, but just don't get near me with those teeth. Whatever you do. There's going to be a collapse, a stop. Stores closed, no food. Could be a variety of reasons. I don't have time to go through every conceivable permutation of what if. And you are going to say, I've got to go. You couldn't do a week, 7 days. Start today, no food, no stores, no nothing. They close. People are freaking out. You stay home. You look in the cupboard. Well, we're doing okay. Hey, kids, like Pop-Tarts? Good, good. You like pork rinds and got some soup? Yeah, we're doing great. How many of us here? 5? For a week? That's just a week. Can you do 2,000 calories a day? Eat? No. Do you have 21 varieties of food? No. Do you have a 25-year shelf life of this food? No. Can you reuse it? Can you? No. They have. I don't know how to explain this to you other than preparewithlionel.com. This is as serious as it gets. This is your intro right now. You can save $200 off a 3-month emergency food order right now. This is your entree for entrees. Preparewithlionel.com. No brainer. Even Russell Brand would say, thank you. I don't know what you're saying, but thank you very much. Preparewithlionel.com. Now let's go back to a few things here. This is fascinating to me. You fascinate me. Sparky, I appreciate this because you speak for so many. It's an either or thing to you. Donald Trump is the best thing we have in 2024, and sometimes he acts like an idiot. What? Yes. Oh my God. Or sometimes somebody says some good things. Sometimes they say good things. Sometimes they don't. It just depends. It's the weirdest thing in the world. And another thing that folks love, sometimes people think that whenever, put it this way, and this is the first question. Number one, do you think, is there anybody, just tell me yes, that the accusations made, here's question number one, that the accusations made against Russell Brand are made up? Completely. Anybody think that? Do you think they're just made up? Do you think there's no 4 women, there's no 16-year-old, and there was no sexual battery? There was nothing like that. It never occurred. Who thinks that? Anybody? They got these people. They're anonymous. They don't exist because some big pharma dude or somebody from the deep state picked up the phone and said, listen, get him. We're going to get Russell Brand. We're going to get him. We're going to teach him a lesson, and we're going to do it, and we're going to ruin his everything. So I want you to come up with 4 women in stories that can never be documented. 4 women who nobody's ever talked to, nobody's ever, nothing, just nothing, just made up. 4. Anybody? Anybody? Come on. Come on. You don't believe that. Okay, I don't. But it could be. Okay, now, let me help you out a little bit. Let's say, though, that, okay, there were 4 cases, but there's a little something different here. For example, not all of these women none of them were pulled off the street. And by the way, I'm in no way suggesting that this was okay. None of them were pulled off the street, thrown into a van, grabbed, trafficked. Many of these girls, the 16-year-old girl that they talk about, 3 months. 3 months. Now, I don't know if that means anything, but she's not chained in some basement. 3 months. The mother, her mother knew it. How bad could it be, right? Her mother brought her. Said, listen, I want her to see me. And Russell, theoretically, if you believe the story, kisses the mother. The mother tells her, I want you to text him how old you are. Other women, they had consensual sex in the past. Not only that, this guy's been telling everybody from day one that he's a pervert, that he's a sex addict, that he's in that. Okay, you don't think that means something? We're not talking about a Catholic priest. We're not talking about a rabbi. We're talking about a little league coach. We're talking about somebody, look at him, who's a dirtbag and a drug addict, and he's cleaned his life up, who just happens to all of a sudden have this revelation, his Damascus St. Paul moment, where all of a sudden he's now seen the light. So wait a minute, that's a little bit different. That's a little bit different. Here comes Sparky. Sparky says, always thought Brand was annoying in his heyday, but he's totally different now. He's totally different now? No, I wouldn't want my daughter I guess, near him just in case. Don't be a hater. He's merely riding on prior momentum. Nobody's being a hater. You're missing the point. And I love you, by the way. Thank you. You're falling in love with him because you can't do either or. You can handle two. This is what F. Scott Fitzgerald, what was it? I'm paraphrasing. The sign of a superior mind is to be able to handle two seemingly inconsistent thoughts simultaneously and function. You can't have it either or. He's a dirtbag and absolutely correct. He is a vile, disgusting human being who, by the way, is 100% correct. 100% correct. And has brought people to the dance, so to speak. And I think that's great. Hugh Hefner was one of the most important voices in my generation. He was more responsible for, I think, the good part of the sexual revolution than you could ever imagine. He was, believe it or not. But then later on, we find out he was a degenerate. There were women, oh my God. There were people who were ascetic, asexual, horrible folks. What if I told you that certain World War II leaders were almost monastic, but imparted horror on people? The two have nothing to do with each other. That's all. Sparky says, wasn't made out of whole cloth. It's weaponized decade after regret. Don't know what that means, but that's interesting. Again, thank you for this. Too much breakdown. Too much insight. It's simple. There's nothing to this. There's nothing. He's a dirtbag that they've been waiting for the longest time. He has been told this. BBC, this goes back. What about these folks? You want to talk about these? How about these people who covered up Jimmy Savile for all those years? How about Prince Charles's buddy? Let's keep going. It's very complicated. He was the worst. They knew this. There were people who knew all about Russell Brand who would go out when he had his various, his shows on BBC 246, whatever the hell they are. And they'd have people like how they do in the rock bands. Rock bands will go out, have the tour people, and they go out and find me some little chippy to bring backstage. And they'd go out and say, hey, would you want to meet so-and-so? Yeah, sure. They did this then. Don't you get it? Sparky says, not falling in love with him, you're forcing me to defend him. Defend what? Defend his allegations? Defend his allegations? Or defend what he said regarding his politics? And let me also tell you something. His politics are thimble deep. We've only been saying this. Excuse me. If this is the stuff that wows you, like, wow, he has said nothing. Remember the time he was on with Meager Brzezinski? Remember that one? This one, boy, he slammed him. See, we love this. We love these moments where, did you see Russell Brand? He gave it to Meager, the Zika virus, Zika, and Morning Joe, and oh my God. I thought, okay, that's good. I don't know what the big deal is, but yeah, that's good. We've only been saying this forever. But we love these moments of, yeah, I'll send it to you. Hey, it went viral. They slammed him. What is he saying? That doesn't matter what he's saying. There's nothing to it, then that's great. Listen, he's nothing special, but he's a dirtbag that they finally caught up with, or they're going to make the allegations. But here's the second part. but the allegations are a little bit, you know. Now, my question is this: why are we waiting between 10 and 17 years later? Well, that's no. Why now? What happened now? Why must this come out? They knew about this. You knew about this. What happened now? Could his politics have maybe accelerated the interest in this? Absolutely. Is that the sole reason? Sparky says, ostensibly, Hefner made sex classy. He took it out of sleazy back alleys. That is true, but he was also a dirtbag. He treated women like garbage. Do you hear what they said? He was one of the most vile people. Bill Cosby, they would drug women up because they said, well, in the 60s, we called it slipping. I don't give a damn what you call it. You see, can you say Hugh Hefner did a lot of things too. He also had very critical legal tanglings with the postal service because they used to unleash the post office on you. The post office, they would come after you through the postal law, and he fought. He was very important. Playboy was important also in the Playboy Jazz poll. There was the Northwest. They had information on wine and food and fashion. It taught men how to be not just rakes and roues, but how to seem cool. Playboy After Dark. I remember one time as a kid, and people said, nobody reads the. Yes, we did. I remember Yevgeny Yevtushenko and the Jimmy Carter interview. The interviews were critical. Okay, take what I just said, put it over here. That's true. Now let me add this. And he was a dirtbag. Okay, over here. Walt Disney. Wonderful movies. Fantasia. This and that. Absolutely. I don't even know what that. We'll never find out everything Walt Disney did. Desi Arnaz. Ricky Ricardo. Genius. Created Desilu. Did the 3 or 4 camera live studio audience, got rid of the kinescope. Genius. He was another rake, one of these philanderers, and okay. You know they want more than anything to get Bobby Kennedy Jr. You know they are waiting. I will bet you anything they've got women ready to go, honeypots lined up, ready to meet him, batting their eyes, especially his, remember, recovering addict, used to keep track of all the women he bedded. So he's into that Kennedy thing. Oh, yeah. And you know, and I know they're just waiting for, but they haven't had it yet. Or maybe they have had it and they're not ready to spring it. It's like trying to remember when Mark Furman left, they say, planted the gun, framing a guilty man because O.J. Simpson killed those people, but he framed them, but he was guilty. Well, we're helping things along. So you can both be framed and be guilty simultaneously. Sparky says, decade after regret, as in morning after regret. Okay, whatever. Yeah. But let me also tell you something, which is I've been around, you've been around, talk's cheap. And let me tell you something. There is a degenerate world of entertainment folks out there who I find disgusting. And they've been like that since the beginning of time. Okay? Now let's talk about Jan Wenner. Why did Jan Wenner all of a sudden in the twilight, he says that Joni Mitchell is not articulate? Stevie Wonder? What, 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 uh, huh? He's got that look. Look at his face. He's got that weird kind of a degenerate look. Maybe the drugs. I don't know. What is happening here? This is the strangest thing. Did they set him up too? Did they set him? I don't know. Because see, it's never what's wonderful about many of you wonderful friends of ours. You never can look at anything and say, no, he just screwed up. No. Do you know how many people at BBC or the Telegraph or Dispatches or whatever, how many people said, hey, we've got the goods on so-and-so. I don't know who he is. Hey, we have the goods on, I'm not even going to say it, somebody, Gary Puckett in the Union. I'm just picking a name out. Somebody may say, I don't. No, you don't understand it. I've been working on this for years. I've got all the women to come forward. Gary Lewis and the Playboys. I got it all. I'm sorry, he's not big enough. Who else do you have? Russell Brand. That's a name. I'll take it. The guy's appearing at Wembley, the biggest name, I'll take it. Well, he's also, yeah. But Russell Brand? How many people? Oh, and I love this. We stand behind you. Wait a minute. Let me ask you a question. Stand behind what? Oh, we stand behind you, Jan. What? We stand behind you. Thanks for everything. Rolling Stone Magazine. Rolling Stone Magazine was so critical in terms of rock, Chet, what's his name? Flippo and all these other people. It was the most incredible. It was it. What do you stand behind? Why do people say, well, we love you, rock? Do you know what he did? Well, okay. Do you approve of that? Wow, that's just, do you think they made it up? No. Inability to handle two different things. What he has said on Bill Maher. What happens if Bill Maher, I don't think anybody would even notice. Sparky says, I use the word ostensibly to imply that Hefner was different behind the scenes. Was I incorrect in his accusers? No, not at all. Hefner, as I said, I think most correctly, was what he did professionally was wonderful. Different story. Tell me this. Do you think, or let me rephrase that. Do you understand that you can have two different feelings, or maybe three? Respecting what somebody has done in terms of what they've said. Maybe even another one, respecting how they stopped doing drugs. And then 10 years ago or whatever it was, they were a dirtbag. Maybe, is there a statute of limitations to it? I told you, the circumstances behind this are a little bit. Look at this, even Fatty Arbuckle. Fatty Arbuckle was absolutely railroaded. Absolutely. That story, if you read it after the fact in the St. Francis Hotel, remember that? What was her name? Francis something or other. That story was, they never even, once that momentum started, that was it. Charlie Chaplin. They had to get rid of Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin was some lefty, also a pervert. Tell me you understand. Liz brings up a good thing. It was a different time then, okay? A different time. Let me ask you something. Does the fact that let's say four, let me ask you this question. Yes or no? Does the fact that they knew what Brand was about mean anything to you? Yes or no? They went there. I know who he is. You know who he is, right? I know who he is. You know he's a sex addict. I know. He just said he's shagged more this and yes, I understand. You know he's a degenerate. Yes. Did you listen? I've heard his act. Yes. I understand it. Okay. Does that make any difference? Does that make any difference? Anybody? And not everybody who claims they were the victim of sexual battery, but they were the victim of sexual abuse or discourtesy or rudeness or whatever it is. Not everybody claims it. But does that make any difference? Do you ever tell your daughters, now listen, make sure you don't get into a car or go someplace with somebody you don't know? I see people walking around in New York City with everything hanging out, and I'm thinking to myself, not that you're asking for it, but do you know how stupid people are? Lock your door. Don't leave your keys in the car. Understand there are predators out there. Does that make any difference? Not in excusing it, but then what if I told you the person who went the first time went back the second time? Do you think that's important? That's relevant? Because Russell Brand says, excuse me, how am I supposed to know if I'm acting untoward when they keep coming back? And these don't last very long. They don't. One of the issues now, if in case you've missed this, I'm not defending Russell Brand, but I'm giving you an explanation or something that he could use in his defense. I remember years ago, somebody would say, Playboy magazine degrades women and puts them in the position where they're blah, 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 blah. And I said, great. You know what happened right now? If you put an ad in the paper, show up at this hotel at this time, get ready to get nudes. We can take pictures of you because you might appear in next month's Playboy. This is when Playboy was a big deal. Do you know how many women would show up? Do you know how many? Do you know how the length of this, of that line? Yes. So, do you think that's relevant as to how Playboy degrades women? Do you think that's relevant? I think it is. There's a lot of women who don't think it's degrading at all. In fact, they would kill to be in the magazine. So I think maybe the juries are still out. Don't you understand that? It's that gray area. How about this? Does Russell Brand ever get the chance to know who these women are? Does Russell Brand know their names? And if he does know their names, is he under some duty? Can he? I don't know the laws of UK. Can he give those names out? Can Russell Brand say, listen, and the mob's done this before, by the way, mob trials. Can Russell Brand and his investigators put a word out? Does anybody know this woman, Felicia Armistead, whatever it is? Does anybody know her? They're claiming, this woman's claiming whatever it was. Can you say, no, you can't do that? What if people say, wait a minute, she was the one who was bragging. She told me the next day. You don't think that's relevant? Yeah. Well, how is Russell Brand supposed to conduct discovery? What if he says, are you kidding? She wouldn't keep her mouth shut. She told everybody this. The victim was told this? You don't think that's relevant in his defense? Yes. Well, how was he supposed to do this? How was he supposed to find that out if he can't mention her name? And for those of you who are saying, what's he saying now? This is now back to, this is defending him. He's a dirtbag, but he's got a point. You see how this works? I don't like him, but I don't like anybody who is put in a position where they can't defend their case. Let me tell you something. You laugh at this. They're going to be signing forms. In fact, they probably already are. An NDA or something that says, I hereby consent to whatever, I sign it. Here's my picture. Here's my license. Okay, there you go. They'll do it. I'll do it. Some of the people in this article said they were upset when they showed up and he was with another woman, purportedly, allegedly. That's what got them mad. Not that he was untoward, but he said, all right, that's it. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm not that kind of girl. Well, wait a minute. Hold it. And by the way, I'm not trying to say somebody's a bad girl. Women can have sex just like men. Do you understand that? You don't think that's relevant? I mean, you left because of what? Because you were offended? Because you weren't the only one? You don't think that makes any, you don't think that's relevant? You don't think that's relevant? Of course it is. Now, do you think most people can figure these things out? No, they can't. Do you think most people can figure out between, okay, let me take this. All right, if they have a scale here, all right, he's a dirtbag, but it was consensual. Now, in one case, why do, and this is something that people and juries and people don't understand. If somebody were to attack you, why would you go back again? If somebody did something where you were actually physically attacked, why would you go back again? That doesn't in any way vitiate what happened, but why would you do it again? Sparky says, Brother Jew brought up Enrico Caruso getting accused at Central Park Zoo in the chat. Great example. Caruso was an awesome singer, by the way. Yes, absolutely. You want to bring up Frank Sinatra? Do you want to go? I mean, I mean, seriously, do you, this, and women too. Remember Connie, sweet Connie, and the plaster casters and all this other kind of jazz? Do you remember? I mean, listen, again, more information. More information. And the thing is that if Russell Brand can sit back and say, well, bring it on. Make your case. I'm not saying anything. See what happens. What are you going to do next? What do you do next? Okay. What? It's your ball's in your court. Can you bring a criminal case? 10 years ago, 17 years? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know UK laws. I have no idea. Civil laws? No, it's probably not. What are you going to do? Because people are watching him. They're going to say, well, let's see how he does this. Is he going to come out and deny it? Don't deny anything. Deny what? I don't even know what it is. I don't even know what I'm denying. I don't know what I'm denying. Sometimes I've always thought this is a weird thing. I've always thought that when people have always asked some folks, are you an atheist? Do you believe in something you don't believe in? What? Is there a word for that? A word and not believe in something? Do you believe in witchcraft? No. Well, what is that called? I don't know. Is there a word for that? Do you speak French? No, I don't speak French. Okay. Do you deny having untoward sex with somebody who does? Sometimes things don't even deserve a reaction. Why am I saying? What am I going to say? Nothing. Sit back and see what happens. Daily Mail, The Times, Channel 4, they'll throw everything at him and say, okay, what happens now? The ball's in your court. I'll address this later on if there's some kind of an inquest or something official. But what am I going to say? I don't know. But not him. He says, I was promiscuous then. Don't say that. See, this is the genius. I'm going to outsmart these people. You don't understand. I'm not only loved, but I'm brilliant. Okay. And if you listen to me, you'll know how brilliant I am. Okay, fine. Well, I don't think so. In UK, it's illegal to even. Well, I'm going to let that. I'm not going to read this out because of the fear of a paradigm, an algorithm I don't even understand. So thank you for that. I'm not sure what that means, but thank you. Now, I know nobody cares about Jan Winter. I understand that. And I know people are missing their point. I want you to understand this so that you understand here. You have 4 different categories that somebody's in. I like what they say. I like Bill Maher has said stuff that I agree with. Johnny Paycheck has said things I agree with. Great. Wonderful. Great. Russell Brand came along and all of a sudden he said, okay, Russell, I want you to remember all these words. Remember this. Read this book. Use these phrases. Come out and do your thing. You're a Christian, you're into faith. Oh, you're into health. Okay. And this is your new thing, and we're going to change your image. Okay, fine. And you're going to talk, and maybe you'll get married, whatever, which is fine. Everybody, listen, maybe he's just getting older. I don't care. But here is the remember these things. Just say these things. Say these things. And remember, these people will believe, if you tell them this, that this is all the product of your political beliefs. All of it. They will believe it. And they say that about you. They think you will believe that. That's all I'm saying. And is it a problem? No, it's not because of that. It's part of it. It's part of the motivation, which is great. But ask this Masterson case or anybody, once they pile on you, and let's look what happens to Ashton Kutcher next. What happens? That's a long story. Recognize how this thing works, how people come along, and sometimes you just, you know what I mean? Not everybody can be. Remember, what did, and this is my favorite, the people that I know who all of a sudden are anti Russell Brand, I'm saying, what did Russell Brand do that Hunter Biden didn't do? Hunter Biden did probably worse stuff. Probably worse. Say what you want about Russell, but this was theoretically consensual, even though it's ridiculous. But I don't know how many people. Hunter Biden's getting hookers, which are most probably trafficked women. He's flipping around with the widow of his brother, who's hiding a gun across the street from a school. What? And they say, wow, that's okay. So Hunter Biden's okay, but you're making a big deal about this guy? The two are completely different. Of the four women, and you don't know half of what is on that laptop from hell. I wouldn't even get near that. I'm surprised nobody turned around and tried to charge Rudy with possession of some illegal information that was on the laptop from what's his name. So we'll leave it at that. Think about that. That's all. Sparky, let me tell you something. You are great today. I want to thank you for that. You have been incredible in adding a level, a dimension of discussion that is so appreciated. Speaking of which, let me say this to you. It's 66 degrees right now. And at night in New York is kind of cool. So we're opening the windows. And it's getting cool. It's getting darker earlier. It's changing. And you're going to need to prepare to luxuriate with your duvets and your quilts. And you're going to go to mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. For sheets, pillows, pillowcases, body pillows, name it, slippers, bathrobes, every bit, every aspect of your kit, as they say, is available at mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. They are big supporters. We support them, and they're still standing. I think Elton John said it best. I'm still standing, and they are still standing. While all those other detractors who fell by the wayside, they fell by the wayside. I like this one. Sparky says, off topic, and speaking of Caruso, try playing La Donne Mobile on your guitar. Makes a nice instrumental. Good luck with that. How about something easy? I still love, and I'm not at all proficient. I'm a bit pedestrian when it comes to opera. But Pavarotti in his prime, Nessun Dorma, is just the most incredible thing there is. Brand is your fellow vegan. That's interesting. I'm not vegan. I am plant-based because vegan inspires a lot of, how do I say this? A connotation. Let me see this. So Brand vegan. He's an outspoken vegan whose activism covers his aspect Russell Brand says he was nagged into veganism. The comedian hasn't eaten meat since he was 14, but gave up eating eggs and dairy after watching What the Health. Okay, well, that's nice. I mean, it's very, very good. That's all I want to tell you. And by the way, if anybody has any questions as to what's the benefits of this, just get your blood work done. You'll see. You'll see. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious day. Thank you so much again, Sparky. You were tremendous. And my friends, don't forget, I want you to go. Remember this. This is Mrs. L. Please, 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 please me. Please, please. This is her. This is her. Oh, new video coming up. Be the first. Be the first in your block. Sign up for her YouTube channel right now. Sign up. I ask you for that. She is the lone sole voice of rational thought. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious day. See you tonight at 7 p.m. Don't forget, subscribe to this channel. More videos coming later. And until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta. Let me try it again.